you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. There are parts of this bill I really like. I just want to put that on the record to both bill sponsors, who I do respect quite a bit. I respect your work in this building. I've gotten to know you really well and fond of a lot of our conversations off the record. I know what it feels like to have a bill ripped apart. That was not my intent with some of the amendments yesterday. I have worked very hard on a lot of bills in this building and have watched them be ripped apart or killed by lobbyists or by members in this building, and it's truly hard. I think for me, listening, and I've waited a little bit to talk, for me, it's if we don't like the tactics that the DAs are using in two different districts, then I think, and if you think that they're corrupt, then I think we get new DAs. I think we put it out to the people and say, in two different districts, they're using these as plea deals. And you put it on social media and you fire away at these people. But for me, changing the law doesn't constitute that for me. I feel like elections have consequences and you try to vote them out. I'm honored to get to speak for someone else. Rigo Esparza. Mr. Esparza was 18 years old, a young father, a devoted son. He went to a party at a house with friends and he never came home. The shooters in this case drove past the house that the party was at, circling the party multiple times, prepared, watching, and then they opened fire. Not one shot, not two, dozens, between 41 and 52 rounds at random into a crowd. Mr. Esparza was struck and died. He was 18. This is the textbook definition of first-degree murder, extreme indifference. But make no mistake, this was not a spontaneous or childish mistake by the killer. This was planned. They circled, coordinated, prepared weapons, executed an attack. They didn't target a specific individual. They shot 41 to 52 rounds at everyone. Whoever was at that house lived or died by chance. But there was not evidence that would allow prosecutors to charge murder after deliberation because there was an act of extreme indifference, not a singled out act of a person intent to kill another specific individual. He was just a happy kid, a loving father to a son. Rigo, his aunt said, who spoke with us before the memorial of her nephew's life. He might have been at the wrong place at the wrong time, she added, not the first time that a surviving loved one of a victim of extreme indifference murder would make that statement. Mr. Esparza's mother said, "No amount of punishment will bring my son back." Mr. Esparza's father died by suicide the day before his son's burial, a life extinguished, a family destroyed. But under this bill, this deliberate planned behavior would result in second-degree murder, a shot at parole. After all, only one died. A young man so beloved, his father could not go on without him. Members, firing 50 rounds into a party is not a lesser form of murder. It is mass violence and a more serious threat to public safety than targeting one individual after deliberation. And those who fire dozens of rounds into a crowd and kill a teenager should face the highest class of penalty. And let me paint a picture. Since we talk about the victims, I want to paint a picture of a mom. Miranda Fresquez lay on the ground outside the Montbello Airbnb for hours, waiting for her son's body to be taken away. Police tape separated her from her 18-year-old son, lying lifeless in the driveway with the bullet that shot through his torso still lodged in his arm. His mother begged the officers at the house to let her hold him one last time as they pleaded for her to go downtown with the other police officers. But as long as her son was lying on the cold, hard ground, so would she. Fresquez stayed in that spot all night. When the coroner finally retrieved the body in the morning, she chased after the van as it drove away. On the day before his burial, his father committed suicide. He couldn't handle the grief of losing his son, says his grandmother. Rigo also left behind a child of his own. These are first-degree sentences for family members. Sentence of suicide for his dad. Sentence to life without a father for his son. Sentence to life for his mother without her son. And I will tell you, if you want to spend a day with a mother who has buried her only daughter or a sister who has buried her only daughter, then come spend a day with me. Figure out what it feels like to try to get up every morning and get dressed and put your shoes on and put a smile on your face and walk through the door and figure out how to do life every single day. Figure out how to do life
and go to birthday parties and celebrate proms and Mother's Days and Father's Days and celebrations and weddings and all the things that you want to do with a child that you no longer have. Now multiply that by the fact that someone viciously took that child away from you. And you tell me that you get to decide whether it's first-degree murder or second-degree murder. Under current law, if someone shows extreme indifference to human life and kills someone, that is first-degree murder. That means the highest level of accountability our justice system can impose. This bill says no. If you only kill one person, we're going to treat you as something less. Something less. Think about that. We are standing here as elected officials debating whether taking one human life deserves the highest level of justice or a reduced charge. And let's talk about what extreme indifference actually means. This is not an accident. This is not a mistake. This is about conduct so reckless, so dangerous, that any reasonable person knows that it will likely kill someone. Firing a gun into a crowd, driving 100 miles through our neighborhoods, shooting into a home, acting with total disregard for whether someone lives or dies. And today, this body is being asked to say if only one person dies, it's not the worst kind of murder. When death is reasonable, when death is a reasonable outcome, pretending it's anything less than the highest level of murder defies common sense. And the result matters. A life was taken through conduct that showed total disregard. Tell that to the victim's family. We don't have to imagine what this looks like. We have seen it right here in Colorado. We have heard it today. We have seen shootings in our communities, Aurora, Denver, Colorado Springs, where reckless, violent behavior turns deadly in an instant. We've seen DUI drivers with multiple prior offenses get behind the wheel and kill innocent people. We've seen criminals with long rap sheets escalate their behavior because the system keeps telling them there will always be another chance. And now we're adding to that message. Supporters of this bill will say it's about proportionality, but let me ask you, what is proportional about telling a grieving mother that her child's death does not meet the threshold for the most serious charge because no one else died? What is proportional about saying one's life is somehow less worthy of justice than multiple lives? Justice is not a sliding scale based on body count. And let's talk about the broader pattern here in Colorado. We have reduced penalties for theft, reduced consequences for drug crimes, bail policies that put repeat offenders back on the streets, and now we are redefining murder statutes. At what point do we stop and ask, who are we protecting? Because it's not the victims and it's not the families who have to live with the consequences of violent crime. Why is the answer always to reduce penalties? And let's be honest about deterrence. The people committing these crimes may not be reading statute books, but they absolutely understand consequences. When the system consistently lowers penalties, delays justice, and reduces accountability, it sends a message. You can push the line, and the line will move. This is exactly what this bill does. It moves the line on murder. Now, I've heard the argument that this will save the state money. Think about that. We are weighing budget savings against the value of human life. That is not justice, that is policy failure. If someone acts with complete disregard for human life, if they make a choice that results in someone's death, you expect your justice system to respond with the highest level of seriousness, not a downgrade, not a reclassification, not a technical adjustment. You expect accountability. This bill moves us in the wrong direction. It weakens the clarity of our laws, it reduces the severity of our consequences, and it sends a dangerous signal at a time when public safety should be all of our top priority.
Rep. Bradley, you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you so much. We should be strengthening our laws. We should be standing with victims. We should be making it absolutely clear that in Colorado, human life is valued and protected. Instead, this bill does the opposite. So I ask this body, do not redefine murder down. Do not tell victims their loss is worth less. Do not continue down a path that puts ideology instead of safety. Vote no on this bill and tell Coloradans we care about one. Thank you.